We had a really productive meeting with all the premiers and the Prime Minister and a couple federal ministers as well, making sure we have a solid plan. We know these tariffs are coming on February 1st. We need to match those tariffs dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff, and make sure that it hurts the Americans as much as it hurts Canadians, because it's going to hurt Canadians right across the board. But we have to come back strong. What we all prefer to build the AMCAN fortress, I apologize, and ship them more energy, more critical minerals. But we also have to look internally. As I said, we should all be looking in the mirror, and we need to look at internal trade that could pick up the GDP. But I've heard numbers anywhere from $50 to $100 billion. We have to speed up approvals. We're hosting the world's largest mining show, PDAC, just in a little while, and people from all over the world are going to come here. But it's unacceptable. It's taking 10 to 15 years to get things moving. It's unacceptable that the Ring of Fire, the largest find in critical minerals in the world, that is taking years to get approvals. It's unacceptable that we don't have Energy East pipeline coming out to Ontario and out to New Brunswick, and again, the Northern Gateway going out through BC until we can ship our crude oil around the world. We have to stop being so dependent on the U.S. You know, we saw this during the pandemic when President Trump cut us off on N95s, and I said, never again will Ontario have to rely on any country in the world. And we built a supply chain, built it up within a couple months. So this is what we need to do, and we need to move forward as quickly as possible, but we're ready for these tariffs on February 1st.
Premier, were you and the other premiers and the Prime Minister able to get Premier Danielle Smith on side?
Well, we had a good discussion with Premier Smith, and she understands we need to be united, and I understand that she wants to protect her main commodity, but country comes first. Over anything, and you can't throw, a tool away from the toolbox. As I said to the premiers, you can't bring a knife to a gunfight. Usually the guy with a knife loses one in a gunfight. We have to make sure that we match these tariffs dollar for dollar. We need to target where it's going to impact Americans the most. We need to target the Republican-held states and the Senate and the Congress and the governors. That's what we need to do because we don't want this. No one wants this, and including a lot of the Republicans and Democrats that I've talked to. Matter of fact, have yet to find one citizen of the U.S., one elected official that says, yeah, I agree, we need to target Canada. Anything but that. And the rest of the world knows they're next.
But Premier Smith didn't agree to you. I mean, you and the Prime Minister have been in lockstep, and have the other 11 of the 12 other premiers. She still doesn't agree with your dollar for dollar tariffs and the counterattack, basically.
Well, not right at this point, but I think we're moving her along. I understand, but make no mistake about it. We do have a united country. I'm hearing it out there. You folks are hearing it everywhere. It's Team Canada. Canada is not for sale, and let's keep being united.
Premier, just to clarify that, everyone's agreed to dollar for dollar tariffs, not this sort of staged approach that had been floated previously?
Well, everyone wants to take everyone wants to take the positive approach. And I've as they've seen, on our hits on those commercials and social media, my comms people told me we've had 500 million hits. And those are pretty staggering. And I just encourage all the premiers, get your ads down there, and the federal government, get your ads down there, because the people play such a huge part of this. If they're calling their congressperson or calling their senator and the phone's ringing off the hook with their governor too, believe me, that works. That gets in the ear of the president.
And what barriers are you prepared to drop, interprovincial trade barriers that Ontario maintains, to achieve this goal of
well, we put this committee together, and folks, this has been going on forever, and enough's enough. Let's sit down and come up with a list, because everyone wants to protect something, no matter if it's the dairy cow in Newfoundland or the wine in BC or ourselves. Everyone's guilty. So we need to sit down and we need to move this forward. It's really going to help the economy, and we're going to put a list together. I've asked one of the premiers to put a list together and start moving forward.
Last
with
question.
That list was supposed to come together, though, a few meetings ago, and just had
it. A few years ago. A few years ago.
Why isn't that list?
Because everyone wants to protect their stakes in the ground and saying, okay, well, I'm all for internal free trade, but you can't use this, you can't do that. So they're you know, we're going to move forward. We made a little headway, I think a couple of years ago. It's simple, and this sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. But first aid kits across the country, they were all different. Tires going on trucks. If you went from one province to the other, you'd have to change the tires. Just, you know, those are silly things, but we have to look at larger commodities, larger sectors that we have to focus on. But I encourage everyone, when you're walking down the aisle, you have an impact. When you look at made in Canada or made in Ontario products, buy them. Make sure that we send a message to the big retailers that have revenues of $147 billion, and that's Costco, Sobeys, Walmart, Metro, and Loblaws. Send the message, buy Canadian products, onshore Canadian products.
Thank you.
Are you
Last
preparing for an
question.
election
Sorry,
call
Jim.
next week?
Stay tuned.
Okay.
But we
Thank
need
you.
a mandate from the people. We need a mandate to protect and possibly spend billions of dollars to protect people's jobs, to protect businesses, and to protect communities. And there's only one group of people, I mean, one group that is going to give you the mandate, and that's the people, and that's what's great about democracy. They either vote a government in or they vote them out. But thanks, everyone.
Thank you.